Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also, tuning in through our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, our next guest has probably been a part of some movies that you definitely can't get enough of. We're excited to welcome Diane Franklin to our program today. She's not only a celebrated actress, but also the author of a book released this year called Diane Franklin, the excellent comedy of the Last American, French Exchange Babe of the 80s, the Better Off Dead movie tribute book. We're going to talk to her about Better Off Dead, but also this new book and what it's been like for her to see the way that her fans continue to be able to follow her work and also appreciate what she's been able to do. Ms. Franklin, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me on the show.
Well, this is exciting because it's not very often that I get to speak to individuals who kind of have become a part of projects. When you hear movies like Better Off Dead or even, of course, Last American Virgin, there's that audience that has followed this and stayed connected with it, still can be able to quote lines. You've been able to be a part of that experience. So what has that been like for you to be able to have been a part of the film, but also to see the rewards that's come throughout the years?
I feel very fortunate and very lucky that I was in a generation of the 80s where my films are so upbeat and in a way like just helping the world. I mean, it's the 80s is a very upbeat decade, and the films that I was in was I think were exemplified of that. So I loved being in the films I was in. I was very fortunate. I started acting at the age of 10. I love acting. It was all my thing. If you're interested, I have 3 books. And my first book I wrote was basically how does a person come from like the suburbs, doesn't know anyone in the entertainment business, how do they become an actor? So I wrote my first book, Diane Franklin, The Excellent Adventures of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s. And the reason why I made such a long title is I didn't anticipate that people would know who I was. And also I thought, it's kind of it'll put a smile on people's face when you say it. And then my second book, I focused on Last American Virgin, but I actually was the first actress to bring curly hair into the curly hair to be a beautiful thing. I played the dream girl in Last American Virgin, and up until that point, most actresses in America had like blonde hair as like you could associate it, and so I had more of like an ethnic beauty. So what happened was the film Last American Virgin really was the first film where all of a sudden like perms were being like created, and like there was so many actresses who then afterwards had dark curly hair in films, Julia Roberts, and Jennifer Beals. So like they allowed the main girl to have that kind of hair. So basically that was my second book. And then this book is because I just wrote this one. This is a labor of love, my Better Off Dead book. Anyone who knows the film, it's a comedy. I play opposite John Cusack in Des Plaies French girl, I took l'existe. So just so you know, when you, of course, when you read it, you're not going to see a French girl, but you will see that this will take you back down memory lane. So what I recommend is you go watch Better Off Dead, the comedy, then you get this book, because this book is really like the special features of the book that we never got to see.
Wow. And I did check before we went on the air here. Better Off Dead is actually on Amazon right now. You can even get the VHS tape, if you can believe that, Ms. Franklin. It's on Amazon right now.
See, there you go. I don't know if you can stream it, but I will say this. Yeah, no, it is, and it's a great, and people who know the film will understand this. It's a great Christmas present. So
let me ask you this about this experience, because I love how you said, especially with the first book, because people do look at you, right, and they say, I want that life. I want to be able to do that. When did you know this is what you wanted to do, that you wanted to be a part of this experience, even though you didn't know where it was going to lead to?
Oh, I knew at 4 years old. And
wow.
I'll tell you something. Not everybody has the experiences I had. But there are people who know very, very early what they want to do. And, you know, I'll tell you something. When you're little, sometimes you know what you want to do, but the people around you say no, or you don't want to do that. Or they tell you, and I'm going to tell you something. That point in your life, like when you're young, you know, you don't obviously have, not everyone's going to help you do what you want to do. But you can, once you get old enough, you know, it's your life, you know, and you can go after things. And so for me, like my parents had no connections. They were immigrants, and, you know, we had to learn the hard way. But for me, like when I started, like my hair was too short and curly. They told me, when I was 4 years old, I said, you know, I want to be an actress. And I saw people on TV. I was like, I want to be on TV. I want to do that. And my parents were like, you know, I don't know what to do with this. You know, they were confused. And basically, I just kept going and telling them, I want to do this. I want to do this. So when I was 10 years old, we went again. And so you could see over the years, you know, you have to be persistent and ask and want it. And the more you know, I mean, maybe, you know, they just figured it out by the time I became 10, how to, you know, find an agent, find a manager, because when you're young, obviously you need help. And then once, you know, but I do know actors because I teach acting as well, that they start doing it later on in life too. You know, like I know a guy who started when he was 30, you know, he just wanted to act and he found out about it. So there's no perfect age to start. It's just really when you have the drive. You have to go after it. That's one thing. No one will do it for you. You need to have that personal drive.
Ms. Franklin, I want to ask you this. I'm glad you brought up about teaching, because I think it does go to another thing as I was prepping for this and thinking about the book and your work. I think so many times people want the success, but you went into this, quite honestly, not knowing you would have the success, not knowing that movies like what we're talking about now, Better Off Dead, would end up becoming a classic. Is that one of the big lessons that you teach people, to do it for the passion, not for the reward?
Absolutely. And it's very interesting you say that, because most people, let's say, sometimes you've heard people say, like, you know, visualize or think about, you know, what you want the result to be, to happen. Most people will think about the result. Like, I want to be famous, let's say, okay? But what we're talking about, when you want to create something, you need to visualize the process. You need to say, okay, if I want to be famous, well, how would I get famous if I'm thinking about that? And so, therefore, that breaks it down. So, like, you have to be, you know, personally, if you do something, if you choose to do something, you got to say to yourself, what's the life going to be like? Some people wouldn't like the life of an actor. It's a freelance life. You know, most people work to take off. Like, they work Monday through Friday, and they wish, finally the weekend comes. But an actor lives to work, so you are, like, prepping and, you know, learning skills and dialects and voices, and, you know, you're studying with teachers, and you're working until, you know, you get the job, and then you're happy. So it's a very different lifestyle, too. So not everybody is cut out for the resilience. You have to be, I would say, in any freelance job you do, musician, singer, writer, actor, like, that is a freelance, you have to be a self-starter. You have to be the kind of person who will say, I want to get up and do what I have to do just because I enjoy the process. So that's a good hint for someone who likes to do this. If you enjoy whatever you do, you're going to do it more.
Right. Great advice, and we're so glad that we could have you on. Again, everyone, Diane Franklin has been our guest. We're talking with her, of course, about her career, but also the success of the movie that so many of you guys know. Of course, that's Better Off Dead. And, of course, we want you guys to get her book as well, as we mentioned here. It's one of those books that definitely will be not only a tribute, of course, for the film, but also does a lot of fan service. Diane Franklin, the excellent comedy of The Last American, French Exchange Babe of the 80s, the Better Off Dead movie tribute book, for sure. Make sure you guys put that on your list. And Ms. Franklin, last thing, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Thank you for asking. You can go on Instagram for Actressful, but you can look for the official Diane Franklin fans. That is me, so because my other one got filled up. And then you can also go to Twitter, Diane Franklin 80, no S. And also the book is available on Amazon, and you may have to look up Diane Franklin books, but you also might have to put up Better Off Dead for that, because I don't know if they have it right available. I looked it up recently on Google, and it took me a while to find it, so just keep looking for it. You'll see a picture of me with the hat on from Better Off Dead, and it is available. You will love it. It is the best, and it's a great Christmas present if you know Better Off Dead.
Thank you again, Ms. Franklin. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Hey, glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. And let's go make today amazing. Take care.